What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be doing the first episode of the State of the Game video for Titanfall 2. And for a game that doesn't have any kind of additional support from devs, you may be wondering what the state of the game is and does it continuously change? In my opinion, it does, but I find that it's more so community based. So in today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is guys hiding behind boxes in corners. Are those the people that we call tryhards? Because can they be a tryhard if they're actually bad at the game? Sometimes people will get killed by somebody like that and be like, what a tryhard, but the guy's not even good. He maybe got 10 kills in a game. I think score tells you a lot about what's going on. I'm looking for the last guy on their team right now. That's an objective way to say if somebody's a tryhard, if they get a lot of kills, right? Yet that's not actually the way most people will see it. Sometimes it'll just be more of a play style that makes other people give you that title. I think the newer people in particular have a way of seeing this game that makes it seem like everybody's a tryhard. Because I think everybody's view of a tryhard is slightly different. Would you guys consider the Monarch trying to camp in the back of the level to get his third tier a tryhard? Or is it the guy with the 36 kills and an alternator? Would it make a difference if they were all camping in the back of the map and I was the aggressor? What makes a tryhard? Is it just doing good? Because I swear that's what some people think it is. Because it's really easy for me to try with different kind of weapons. Some weapons are definitely easier to use. But if we're just going to call anybody who does well a tryhard, then the word loses all meaning. Like right now I'm actually trying. I came into the game a little bit late and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to make a difference. So what do? I end up taking out some pilots. Then I go after some grunts. I even end up grabbing a second primary. I do things very safely. You're going to see me spray my gun before I even turn, which is probably the best way to use an L-Star. And when you have it paired up, then you don't end up overheating it, and then you can use it to take out minions because it is just a minion slayer. And when you do things like that, it helps you get your Titans super fast. Even though I was a late comer, I was able to get my Titan first. And is that being a tryhard actually paying attention to the mechanics of the game and using strategy? Like knowing how to build up your multiplier, being safe, grabbing second primaries, doing all that stuff. Does that make you a tryhard? Because I think a lot of people get confused with what being a tryhard is for just challenges, which I'm going to go more in depth. But in the first third of this video, these guys are being super defensive, which is almost a different way to say campy. And all these kind of definitions, I think they overlap. Like the way that you say it to people, I don't think it's always just a high score that makes you think somebody is a tryhard. Sometimes it's in the way that they're trying to do it. And for me, I think that's what makes the biggest difference. Because when they tried this, I grabbed one of their hemlocks and I'm like, I'm going to turn this around on you guys. I took one of the power positions and I made a difference. And in certain games, I find that the tryhard mentality doesn't give you the tryhard label, if you get my drift. If you're gonna have a close game like I'm having now, isn't everybody trying hard? Which kind of just nullifies it, and then, you know, everyone's just okay with the game because it makes it close. Let me give you this other scenario. I have literally been watching streams with people that are in full parties, and they go, just from where I've hung out, I've seen them slay 2 teams, and the other team doesn't even get past the halfway point in regards to score. And then they get into a game against another full lobby, and the game will come down to maybe like within 100 points. And they'll be like, you guys are such tryhards, you guys are such tryhards. It's like, you guys literally were pub stomping 2 seconds ago. You guys get into a match where you guys actually have to try, where you guys can't just steamroll a team, and all of a sudden the other guys are tryhards. And I'm like, I don't think you guys know what it really means. And I think one of the other problems is that just because of the way that this game is with the skill ceiling and what's possible for one player to do in an entire lobby, it makes it seem like he's a tryhard even if that is his base skill level. Like some people are just always averaging high 20s, 30 kills. It's just the way it is in this game. And it makes it seem like they're huge tryhards. I had to go all the way back to January to find this footage of what I would consider tryhard gameplay. I have an alternator. Some people will instinctively just call anybody with a meta weapon a tryhard even if they're not doing that well, which is kind of a weird thing. It's like, I don't know, I just don't think that it is as clear sighted as just seeing the scores. Context is very important in distinguishing people from being a tryhard and just playing a good game that's going to be close and just trying to keep it on a level playing field. It's almost like some people will call anything that challenges them tryhard, even if they are winning. Actually, use this little part. This is the only part I took from this game for a montage that I did a while back. But going back to this tryhard thing where people are like, if anybody is giving them a hard time, they're instinctively just tryhards. And I'm like, that just doesn't work for me. Now, this is the other thing. Now, this is just unique to Titanfall, even though I think people have the wrong idea in regards to tryhards in other games. But in particular to Titanfall, I think it's easier to give people the tryhard label just because of where this game is. So specifically to Titanfall, no development, which means there's no kind of balance changes. You can exploit stuff to your heart's content. And there's definitely things that I think are a little bit more exploitable, and I think that leaves us like a bad taste in people's mouths more than others. But the thing is, if this game is not getting support and nothing's going to change, and the second part is that it actually has no competitive mode and it has a small population, what are you really trying to accomplish by doing really well? Like, if you look at this, if I didn't pull out this big streak at the beginning of the game, my team would have likely lost this game. So what's wrong with me doing the best I can to keep a game close? And that's typically one of my own philosophies. In Titanfall, like, I don't try to steamroll a team. When I see somebody get a game where the other team either only has 50 points if it's pilots versus pilots or less than 300 points, to me, I would say you're a tryhard. And that's more so because of the state of the game. This wouldn't have always been my opinion. At the beginning of the game, sure, you know, everyone's still figuring things out. There's definitely a lot of ways to do things. But by this point, you know that if you're getting that, it's because you're exploiting players that are not even close to your skill level. And again, there's no competitive mode. You don't get a ribbon. You don't get put into a higher league for doing really well. So to me, what are you trying to accomplish other than just exploiting players and making them not enjoy the game? I'm trying hard right now to get kills with my Scourge, but I don't think it makes me a tryhard in most people's eyes because I'm using a lower tier Titan, which again, I don't really get it because to me it's relative to the team. If you notice the score, we were completely dominating them. It's like, yes, I probably would have done even better with a Ronin, but regardless, I was going tryhard on them by just... See, at what point is it just me playing regularly and them just not being able to keep up regardless, right? In most of my games, what happens is when I see people that are falling behind by a lot, I go for fancier kills and fancier kills and fancier kills. And that's how I keep from what I think being a tryhard is. You know what I think being a tryhard is? When you're somebody that is constantly shooting with a car, and then at the end of the game, you switch to a fun weapon, so to say, once the game is practically over. Because I'm pretty sure that's what this guy did, and to me, that leaves more of a sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, really? You want to make like you're just fooling around now? It's over and done with. If you want to be like a good sport, you need to kind of do it throughout the whole game. You can't just do it at the end. This guy wants to go 1v1. I'm like, sure, let's go. He's even got more health. And I guarantee that some people at this point are like, I am so much better than him. If he beats me right now... I don't think some people are even capable of objectively seeing how a fight went. And this is when you start getting into like pub stomps. When somebody on the opposite team that isn't that good starts teabagging and making like they're a lot better, to me, you're being a tryhard. It's like you're not even objectively seeing where your actual abilities are. You're actually riding the coattails of your team. And to me, it's more so people that don't have self-awareness. So if you're going to be in a full party of top tier players and one guy happens to sneak up from a corner and ambush you and all of a sudden he's a tryhard, it's like, no, you got to give it a break at that point because, ooh, we saw him on the way in. That was an awesome grab. Yeah, I think you just kind of have to look at it more objectively, and some things, yes, are very tryhardy in this game, but then some things are just natural skill in this game that you're just never going to get away from. And I don't think all you guys have to take the same philosophy I have. I definitely don't think that that's it. But I think that if everybody just wants to have a better time and have a better time in Titanfall in general, because we do have a big problem here, let's not make like we don't. We have a smaller population and poor sportsmanship. And you know what, I need to address this, because some people are going to take these things and then talk about things like the scrub mentality, which I think is really lame. Like, the scrub mentality is such a dumb thing to be talking about in games that are not competitive. Like, to me, I think you're just being an idiot. People are saying just play the way that you want, use the strongest thing, or yada yada yada. At some point, you have to remember that this is just a game, and I think when you really start getting into scrub mentality, it's like not even understanding what you're playing anymore. This isn't League of Legends. You guys are not playing for $250,000 or whatever these crazy money pools are in some of the most competitive games, because that's not what you're playing. So get your head out of your bum. You need to just take this for what it is, and this is just a fun arcade shooter. And if we want to continue to have fun with it, then we have to more so look inwards, because again, we can't depend on the devs. This is an inner Titanfall community problem. And that's pretty much the end of this rant for this state of the game. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. We are going to be doing something fun next video. I think you guys know what's coming up. It's going to be more salty pilot kills and deaths. So that's where we're going to pick it up in the next video. Again, thank you all for joining me. This is Paper. Cut to you, and I'll see you all next time. One last word. I think that there is a place for Tryhard, but you need to bring it out for when the Tryhard needs to be there, when there's other players and other teams that you know can keep up with you and you're able to have a good time, while all the while going as hard as you want. But if you want to get into those awesome games where everyone's running a Kraber or off meta games, then you have to have some self-awareness and know that this is not the time to tryhard. This is the time to just have fun with your fellow players.